Hello. Welcome to Alafia Learn Cheer Thursday. It has been a while with an educational live session, but we're going to start a new series on that. Um, Today we are talking about domestic violence and disability. But before we go to that, let me talk about few of our programs. So basically, we have two programs we are accepting application for right now. One is a sickle cell sponsorship business um, program where people living with sickle cell or sickle cell families can apply for business capital or to restart their business, the launch, or whatever they want to do. The other one is digital media training for sickle cell people living in the United States. So you can go to our website, lafiaafrc.org, and you can find all the information under the project tab. So right now we are gonna move to our live, and I just want to remind you that we also have a hotline. It's 24 hour, which you can call. It's 414-432-3555. Again, it's 414-432-3555. Or you can text, you can call, or you can chat with us on the website. So, yes, I'm going to hand over you to the speaker. If you have any question, you can inbox us, you can email us, or you can call us. Thank you very much for all your support. Yeah, to our speaker, her name is Serena. She have a non-profit called Moragana Care. She advocates for domestic violence, breast cancer, sexual violence, and all. She's been doing a lot of work in the community, and she's an expert in terms of advocating for women victims and people looking for resources in family violence, sexual violence, breast cancer, and on. So she's going to tell you more about her work. Then she can move to our program for today, our topic. Thank you. Over to you, Serena.
Hello, good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Peacock, Ethelene, and the Althea organization for having us. We've done this, but like you said, it's been a while. So it's good to be back connecting with our community and with other organizations. My name is Serena Martin, and I'm the executive director and founder of Mahogany Cares Foundation, Inc. Mahogany Cares, we have a mission to end the generational cycles of domestic violence by providing support and advocacy to survivors, promoting healthy relationships only, and by educating the community on the effects domestic violence has on everyone. And that's one of the reasons why we're here today. Um, we have a couple different programs as well. One of our programs, Embrace Empower Employment, which is an opportunity for survivors to work with us. We support them in the beginning through uncovering barriers and preparing them for whatever their goals are and just moving past towards success after abuse and violence. We have support groups for both domestic violence and sexual assault. They are separate because these are two separate, very important issues that we do have here in our community. And we'll be sharing how to reach us and how, if you'd like to register for one of those support groups, you can do so. We also do advocate for breast cancer. We will continue to do that. We honor survivors for just sharing their stories and for being the sheroes that they are in educating others and saving lives. So that's one of the reasons we're here today too. Not that breast cancer is a disability, but it does take a toll on someone. And oftentimes we do see a dual conversation of domestic violence and someone who's experienced breast cancer as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the statistics. We can't go without our recent. We've had 6+ homicides in the last about 2 weeks of domestic violence, and these were domestic violence incidents of women of color. So this is a horrific number. We are out here. We are working with the community. We are advocating at the legislation level. Domestic violence is something that definitely is preventable. So we do need to continue these conversations, and we do need to continue to support and talk about this with somebody. Get the help and support that you do need. If you or someone is experiencing domestic violence, you are not alone. There are organizations such as Mahogany Cares, the Althea, and other organizations out here in the community that can help. Get a plan in place. We do need others to speak with those who are doing the abuse, and we will definitely support and talk to those that are being abused. We also have a helpline. It's 855-29 CARES or 292-2737. And we'll give you that information too towards the end. Um, Another thing that I just wanted to talk about, and why we're here today, is the statistics of during this pandemic. Domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse all have been increased of about 40% increase just during the last couple of years. It's due to a lot of different things. It was due to a lot of isolation and people not being able to reach out and get the help they need. And then also isolation right there in the home, where they weren't able to go anywhere but be in the home with those who were abusing and inflicting violence on both victims, survivors, and children. So the stats for 2021 in Wisconsin, there were 105 lives taken due to domestic violence, and that's about 3.4 one every 3.4 days. And this is information that is put out by End Abuse, which is our coalition here in the state of Wisconsin on domestic violence. So if you did want to check the information, you definitely could. These are numbers that we need to lower. Like I said, domestic violence is preventable. It does not have to happen. It's one of those things that intervention, prevention, and education, we can get those numbers down. And that's our mission. And we would love you to join us in that mission in ending domestic violence throughout our community. I am going to share a PowerPoint here, just very quickly. Let's see. Let's see. Are you able to see the PowerPoint? Let me see. Ethelene, are you able to see it? Anybody? I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys can see it. I'm going to go back to it here. Let me try this again. No, okay. Let's see, let's try it. Please. I don't know what's going on with this part. It's asking me to share it. That's okay. What we'll do, are you able to see it now? Let's try this again. Oh, okay, wait. Looks like we may be in here now. Choose to share. Okay. Share. Let's try that. Now, where are we? Okay, are we there? Let's see. It's a little bit difficult here. Yes, okay, perfect. So here's the PowerPoint. Um, Domestic violence awareness and interventions discussion by myself. We did introductions, we did about, we did me. Let me know if you are able to see this video.
Wait, so he said he was gonna hit you? I mean, he said he was tempted to. Tempted means he will. No, it doesn't. I don't know, man, but that's crazy. Wait, and y'all were in public? Yeah. I mean, y'all's arguments are usually never this big, right? Not really. So if he hasn't hit you, you're good. That's true. I mean, he grabbed my arm. He grabbed your arm? Yeah. But I mean, I made him really mad. Vanessa, that looks really bad. It's not that bad. I mean, you know he's gonna be successful later on. Can't you just stick it out? I mean, like, he's not cheating, he's not lying, and he's actually a good catch. I mean, if it was me, I would stick it out. He is a good catch. I'll stick it out too. I don't know, Vanessa. Go with your instincts. Vanessa, I love you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't understand you or try to even understand. I'm sorry that I let my anger get in the way. I'm sorry that I put my hands on you. I need help. I know I do. But please don't leave me. I miss the way you smile, the way you played in my hair. Vanessa, I need you. You just can't do this to me. You can't leave me. Vanessa, I promise I will never put my hands on you again. I'm sorry. But if you want to leave me, it's okay. I understand. I mean, can't you just stick it out? I just need you to know that I love you. Didn't I tell you not to walk away from me?
Okay. Okay. Okay, that was just a short video. In this video, I just had a couple of questions. How did you feel about when watching the video? And the reason why we asked, first of all, let's just do a disclaimer. This definitely was an intimate partner domestic violence incident. Domestic violence does happen to any race, any nationality, any gender. It can happen to men. We're talking a little bit about it happened to those who are with disabilities. It does not discriminate. So we need to just do that disclosure first. This particular video was a male that was domestic violence towards a female. But again, it can happen same gender, and men can be abused as well. In this particular video, what forms of domestic violence were displayed? This may have not have been what we've usually seen. Does anybody have any or want to share what they feel were the forms of domestic violence that were displayed? And you can put that in the chat and let us know. There were several forms, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. And then one other thing to think about, if this young lady had come to you for advice, what would you have said or done? She did go to her friends, and it kind of seemed like they were trying to kind of talk her out of it and make her believe that she wasn't experiencing the things that were hurting her and scaring her. So we can talk about that. Just to go further, survivor. The definition of survivor is a person who survives, especially a person remaining alive after an event in which others have died. And the reason we don't need to talk about what the word survivor means, this is a very, very serious. When we talk about survivors, that saying that someone may have escaped death. They're still here. They're still able to tell their story while others are not. So we need to be very, very, we need to define what survivor is. And we need to know that when somebody does talk to you and says that they're a survivor, that's very serious, that they survived something that many others have passed away. Want to talk a little bit about the types that in the state of Wisconsin, there are 5 forms of domestic violence that are recognized. That does not mean that there are not other forms. And we'll talk about some of the other forms at the end here. Physical violence. When we think about physical, that's something that most people recognize when we talk about domestic violence. It's not the only form, but it is one that is the most recognized. And that can be hitting, punching, slapping, kicking, pulling hair, just roughhousing. If somebody doesn't want to do it and somebody is inflicting that onto them, that can be a form of physical abuse and violence. Biting, strangulation, spitting, use of weapons, reckless driving, and then death or murder. So those are under physical. Under verbal, we have the name calling, threatening, criticism or degrading someone, the manipulation, the blaming, the gaslighting, and just being condescending. All of those can be forms of verbal abuse or violence. We have sexual. This is the 3rd form of domestic violence. Sexual, forcing sex or sexual acts or assault onto someone. Sex trafficking. Cheating is a form of abuse. Using sex to control. Sabotaging somebody's birth control. Accusing a partner of infidelity. And then reproduction coercion. So all of those are forms of sexual domestic violence. We have financial, stealing or unauthorized use of somebody's money, bank accounts in abuser's name only or having no access to funds or monies, assigning someone an allowance, denying them the right to work, misusing of their name and finances. This could be using somebody's credit, buying something in their name, putting utilities and things in their name, things of that nature, and forcing signature on documents. All of these can be forms of financial. It can ruin somebody's credit. It can afford them not to be able to do things that need finances or money. This is one that lately I've been talking a lot about with even our program, the Embrace Empower Employment. Just we are empowering those who have been in a domestic violence situation to become empowered and to really focus on their own goals and their own dreams and what they want to do moving forward in their lives. Maybe going back to school, getting that promotion, or finding a job that they like. So, all of those are ways that their abuser could be keeping them in financial abuse. Mental and emotional abuse. This is subjecting or exposing another person to behavior that may result in psychological trauma, including anxiety, chronic depression or any depression, and post traumatic stress disorder. So, mental health is very, very big piece of domestic violence, that controlling, that manipulation, all of those things that you kind of talked about are forms of domestic violence. Having somebody feel like they're going to be on pins and needles or be hurt at any time just for things that they want to do and for choices that they've made for themselves. Other forms can include spiritual, cultural, and identity, stalking, child abuse, sibling abuse, elder abuse, abuse of people with disabilities, and same gender abuse. And again, these are not all of them, but these are just some of them that we've talked about today, and we wanted to make sure that you, as the audience, know about. Um, and Survivor Like Me, that is one of our programs and campaigns that we have. I put that in there because this is a program where we salute, we honor those who have been through domestic violence and now are succeeding. And they're taking that success and using it to show others that they can do it too. So that could be somebody going back to school, that could be somebody, marriage in a healthy relationship now. Success can be anything that you want it to be. And we need to see these success stories and continue to share these success stories so that those who may still be going through domestic violence and abuse know that there is better. They can still accomplish all of their goals and dreams and continue to have a successful life even after trauma or abuse. Okay. These we can go through. It's 10 signs that you may be in an unhealthy relationship. And this is very relevant as well with the disability, because people with disability are very vulnerable to domestic violence, sexual assaults, all of those things. And oftentimes people are taking advantage. One of the ways, substance use or alcohol, it makes it almost impossible to have a healthy relationship. The alcohol and drugs alter behavior, personalities, and judgment. And often codependency goes along with substance abuse in relationships. We're not saying that you're not adults and you can't have a fun time and celebration, but when it becomes substance abuse or a dependency of drugs or alcohol, this could really be a sign of a very unhealthy relationship. And when one person's wanting to quit and the other isn't, this can become a very serious problem as well. Verbal abuse. We talked about that in the definition. When somebody uses verbal abuse, they're trying to embarrass or shame a person, control or manipulate someone. Verbal abuse can be yelling, swearing, the threats, and even demeaning someone. These are definitely signs of an unhealthy relationship. The person doing it, that's very unhealthy, to be demeaning and hurting somebody. And then the person that's receiving the verbal abuse, their self-esteem, their confidence, and self-love is in jeopardy. So you definitely want to look out for signs for that. And those of us from the outside now looking in, if we're hearing these things and we're hearing somebody demean or cussing and threatening somebody, it's not always for us to be the hero, but there is a conversation that needs to be had. That person does need to know that it's wrong and they may need some help. Physical abuse. If there's any hitting, biting, slapping, all of those things, shoving, definitely use of weapons, forcing a person to either have sex or to do things that they want them to do. These are a clear sign of that this relationship is unhealthy. And these may need to be reported, either to the authorities, get an advocate involved, such as myself, Althea and the other organizations. You don't necessarily want to do the intervention yourself if it's not safe for you. But physical abuse, can get dangerous. And we know that the ultimate can end up in either death. So we do want to make sure that the person who is being abused is getting the help, but we also want to make sure the person that is doing the abusing is has is getting the help, support, and if they had charges, sometimes this is not okay. Um, as an advocate, we intervene on the side of the survivor or victim. We know that everybody doesn't want that person to be arrested. They really just are asking that the violence and the abuse stop. So it's definitely going to be up to that person how they want to move forward. Do they want to get a restraining order? Do they want to get the police involved? However, if there's weapons and things like that that could um, endanger both that victim, survivor, and the community, we may need to get the authorities involved. And that can mean, arrest and separation, getting that de escalated so that the anger and the violence does stop. Let me see. Okay. Another sign of an unhealthy relationship could be jealousy. If your partner is consistently jealous of you, accusing you, having not wanting you to be with friends or family, they're controlling, and that's a form of abuse. You need to decide, there's a thin line between protection and care, but when it comes to the controlling part and a over jealous person, that could definitely mean that there's signs of abuse, and it could escalate into other things such as the isolation and the threats and those things. So you definitely want to, maybe talk to somebody, counselor, advocate, your medical provider. And, if you're starting to feel like this is overwhelming, then you may want to get somebody else involved. Controlling behavior, desires to be in charge, wants to control you, wants to isolate you, wants you to have them around you all the time. And it just becomes unhealthy where, you may want to spend some time with your friends and family, and you may want to, celebrate or have some fun. And this person is not allowing you to do that. Those are definitely a signs of an unhealthy relationship. Somebody trying to change you. If your partner is saying they can fix you, or they're trying to change the way you talk, trying to change your whole personality, what you wear, where you go, who you can spend time with. If that starts to become unhealthy, that's something then again you want to address. Some of these things start to happen. These are red flags. So it's not always something right away that we would recognize. It may be fun. It may be, something at first that seems okay, that's okay. He or she, this wants me to wear this as their favorite color. But later on, it starts becoming a problem. They're demanding you wear this. They're, taking stuff. They're destroying stuff. That's when it could be unhealthy and become a really serious problem. And then cheating. A lot of people don't realize it, but cheating is a form of abuse. The other person, it's dangerous. There's diseases and things that can happen. Other people get involved. Emotions are high. People are not feeling, their self-esteem and their emotional status is being diminished. All of these things can really be harmful, and this is definitely a sign of an unhealthy relationship. Somebody's cheating or doing things that they would not do normally in front of you. Those are some of the things to look out for. And cheating can be just more than just the sex. It can be internet, it can be over the phone. It could be having intimate conversations with somebody. So those are some just kind of the red flags that you want to look out for if your partner is doing those things and has you feeling some type of way. That's how you know. It's not how anyone else feels, it's how you feel about that situation and how it makes you feel as a person. We wanted to talk a little bit about the disability, and I know, Althea, their focus is on women and survivors, victims, and people who have sickle cell. With Mahogany Cares and with our organization, our Embrace, Empower, and the Employment, we work with those who have disabilities as well. And we found that, again, they're a very vulnerable population when it comes to domestic violence and abuse, and getting back into reintegrating themselves back into the community. So we take our time and work with those survivors as they begin to become empowered. And that's both mentally, physically, spiritually, and the entire family is often involved. So we do want to make sure that if we know people who are um, experiencing or have lived with a form of a disability, that we're asking them the questions as well. We're finding out what's going on, with their relationships and the people that they're around. At times that we've talked about that isolation, we've talked about those things that go on behind closed doors when we may think it's one way, but when we're gone or where we're not with that person, they're actually being abused. So when you are, talking to a friend or family member who has a disability, making sure that we're making sure that they are safe and asking them the questions. Hey, is this a healthy relationship? What is your definition of a healthy relationship? Is it equal? Is it reciprocated? How, what are some things, if something did happen, what is your strategy? What is your plan? How would you ask for help? Do you need help now? Just really being that open door and making sure that they have the information and support and access to the services they need in a domestic violence situation. We do have, we're going to do Q&A. I don't know if we have any questions so far. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing and see if we have any questions or any feedback on what we've talked about thus far. Were there any questions that we had?
No, I don't think so right now.
Okay. That's just kind of what we talk about the abuse. I think, lately with the pandemic, financial again has been one of the things that people didn't realize they were experiencing, the financial abuse. And I would say that for people that are with disabilities as well, taking their check or, spending it, um, not allowing them to purchase and get the things that they need, not being able to get the access to medical care, keeping them from seeing their doctor or being with them during their appointment, and they're not feeling that they can share everything that they need to share with their medical provider. All of these can be signs. And again, there's a thin line between being protective and wanting to share that moment and being controlling. And, if I say, hey, you know what, I just want to talk to my doctor by myself, that should not become a problem. That should be my right. And that could be a sign that, hey, this may be somebody's being controlling or, trying to take over. So we definitely want to make sure that we're looking for those things. I do work part-time at the hospital, and it is one of the places where you can get help We can talk. You can say, hey, I want this appointment just for me and my medical provider. And that may be the only opportunity that somebody has to talk to somebody one on one. So we want to pay attention to that. And I always ask that if somebody's with the patient, hey, is it okay if we discuss this in front of you? Did you want time alone? Can I, take this person to the cafeteria for a minute? Making sure that that's their personal time to talk to somebody. And if they are experiencing any forms of domestic violence or abuse, this would be one great opportunity for them to get the help that they need. Um, Anything else? We are looking forward. We're going to be bringing back our annual event this year, honoring survivors. So we're really looking forward to our community getting involved. We are in a state of emergency with domestic violence and abuse here in Milwaukee. So if you would like to get involved, you can join myself and Mahogany Cares. You can join the Althea, and there are several organizations. We can do it together. This is not something that just one person or one organization, everybody needs to take a moment and figure out how they can support ending domestic violence in our community. It affects everybody. When I'm watching the news, I'm just as upset as when I'm with a client or somebody that I actually know. We don't want to wait till it happens to us to make these changes. I'm working with legislation. I am going to be reaching out to some other organizations and advocates in the area. We really need to make some changes as far as the gun violence and domestic violence. We know that when there's a gun involved, it's hundreds of times um, more detrimental that there'll be a death if there's a gun or a firearm either in the house or access to it by somebody who has a previous record with domestic violence or is displaying domestic violence and abuse behavior right now. So I thank you guys so much for listening and joining me today and just educating the community a little bit more. I know many of us know some of this information, but it's good to just do reminders and to keep this as a discussion and a mission throughout our city and our state of Wisconsin.
Oh, thank you, Serena. That was some really great information right there, which people should really take note because domestic violence is really real. It's like a pandemic like COVID. It's different because people are dying. The moment we say we're gonna wait, it's not important right now. People are dying, so we have to take it seriously. People in the community have to be advocates. It's a community business. We all have to be saying, like the way we police people about COVID. Did you take your vaccine? Put on your mask. That's the same way we should be doing for domestic violence. It's everybody's business. It's not like, well, I'm not affected. But you can be affected because let me say an abuser have a gun trying to kill the victim. The stray bullets can meet you. So it's everybody's business and it's a public health issue. Everybody's affected one way or the other. It might not be directly, it might be directly, but we all have our parts to do. So thank you very much for this education, educational life. So I just want to remind people again about the stuff we have going on. um we have our programs. Okay. We have our programs which you can apply for the sickle cell capital sponsorship. We have the sickle cell digital media training. We have a general media training program, but that's already full now. So yes, we asking people to reach out if they have a problem. We have the hotline which is 24 hours. Um, this is the number right there on the screen. You can call this number. You can chat with us on the website. You can text us. It's a 24-hour thing. So you can just use a code word. And as Serena said, you can talk to your doctor, you can talk to the cashier in the store, you can talk to anybody providing you with services. That person will get to their manager for them to get you help. So yes, we want to thank Serena for this wonderful education. Um, our next one is going to be again last Thursday in August, and we will see you then. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again one more time, Serena, for your time, for your efforts, and everything you put in to educate people on domestic violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
yeah. Okay. Have a good day, guys.